Hey gang, welcome to another edition of Doc Schlock Top 10s, where it's a special edition. I'm doing a countdown of the top 10 worst horror movies requested by fellow YouTuber ROMS Reviews of Doom in 2015. Oh, believe me folks, he had his share of really bad movies to send me and to be requested and be reviewed and watched, and made me basically want to grab a sledgehammer and hit myself over the head again and again and again. But throughout all the real bad ones he sent me, these were my 10 that I watched and really couldn't sit through for very, very long. But I made it. So let's get on with a countdown of the top 10 worst horror movies requested by fellow YouTuber ROMS Reviews of Doom in 2015. We start things off, of course, number 10 with The Birds 2: Land's End. A so-called sequel to a great Hitchcock classic, yeah, right. Number 9 is, speaking of sequels, The Dentist 2. Not too bad of a sequel, a little bit more goofy, sort of Dr. Giggles-like, but not quite as suspenseful as the first one. Number 8, another sequel, Children of the Corn 3: Urban Harvest. I'm telling you, after the first one, it just got much, much worse. Number 7, another sequel, Stepfather 3. The first one was good, the second wasn't too bad, but this is probably the one that made me laugh the most. Number 6, more sequels. It's Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Rocking, shocking new wave of horror. Yeah, right. Number 5, Housebound. A surprisingly not very scary and not very haunted house movie. Number 4, Dracula 1979. Lasers, man, lasers. Number 3 goes to Scalps. There was a lot of bad stuff in this movie. Number 2 goes to Lady Terminator. She's no Arnold, but then again, who is? But my number 1 pick of the worst movie he requested from last year goes to The Town That Dreaded Sundown remake, sequel, whatever you want to call it. It was just all around god-awfully bad. So there you guys have it, my picks, the top 10 worst horror movies requested by fellow YouTuber ROMS Reviews of Doom in 2015. I gotta say it, though, in all honesty, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, remake, sequel, whatever you want to call it, it was bad. I mean, it was really, really bad. And again, it's really a movie that you're not even quite sure to call it a sequel, a remake, or both, or what. Lady Terminator, I pretty much knew what I was getting into. I thought to myself, okay, this is just going to be a female version of the Terminator, and a lot of it was, but how everything happened was just god-awful. Scalps, a lot of stuff about that movie I really didn't like, and just that ending was just goofy and stupid. Dracula 1979, you had yourself a great cast in there. Donald Pleasance, Frank Langella, Laurence Olivier, and they just made this movie really, really bad, incredibly boring, and like I said, lasers. Housebound, the reason it really wasn't number 1 is because I can honestly say I was very disappointed in this movie. It's in the review, it looked like it was going to be a good, slightly good horror comedy, but it just, I don't know, it was just... Anyway, if you want to go check out my reviews on these movies and really get the real reason why I hated these movies or just didn't particularly like them, please feel free to. Howling 2, God almighty, they really messed up everything in that movie. They totally screwed up the werewolf genre of everything. I mean, if you thought they messed up everything for Twilight for vampires, Howling 2 was pretty much messed up everything for werewolves. Stepfather 3, an embarrassing sequel. Honestly, it was just really, really god-awful. I felt like I was laughing more at it than I was being scared of it. It was incredibly, incredibly bad. And Children of the Corn 3, I can't say it's the worst sequel of the series, but it's pretty doggone close. Some really bad gore, special effects, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know if you can call it special effects, but the monster in the movie that comes out in the cornfield you're laughing at it. It's so really, really bad. Dentist 2, I really felt like in a lot of ways it was pretty much kind of being almost like Dr. Giggles. And Dr. Giggles is one of my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. But it seemed like that's a territory it was trying to go to, trying to be sort of funny, one-liners, goofy things happening. But The Dentist was good and suspenseful. Part 2, not so much. And The Birds 2, so much idiotic stupidity in that movie, I can't even begin to tell you. But it was a so-called sequel that should have just been called something else. But there you guys have it. Okay, the next big top 10 that I'm hoping you guys will help me out with is the top 10 worst video game turned movies. And sadly, there are more of these to come. In fact, I actually read some time ago that they're going to be releasing Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. No joke. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I don't know. It's got to be better than Pixels. Yeah, I know. I keep bringing that up in these. I'm sorry about that. But here are some movies you guys can pick if you want to. Of course, Double Dragon, Super Mario Brothers, either one of the Hitman movies, either one of the Mortal Kombat movies, Doom, Wing Commander, any of the Lara Croft movies, Final Fantasy Spirits Within, any of the Resident Evil movies, either one of the House of the Dead movies, either one of the Alone in the Dark movies, any of the Blood Rain movies, any of the Silent Hill movies, DOA, Dead or Alive, Postal. Never heard of that game, but it was in the list of video game turned movies, if you guys know anything about that. Any of the movies from In the Name of the King, Max Payne, either of the Street Fighter movies, or Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, or Need for Speed. If you saw it, you thought it sucked, send it on in, and hopefully sometime this year I can give you guys your picks for the top 10 worst video games turned movies. And if you've got a top 10 you'd like for me to do for you, send it to me in a message, and send me your top 10 who's he what's it's, and and send me your picks from number 10 to number 1, and I'll get on them for you sometime in the near future. And if you like my videos, feel free to subscribe, and please go check out ROMS Reviews of Doom right here on YouTube, and subscribe to him as well. Well, gang, that's going to do it for this edition of Doc Schlock Top 10s. One last thing to remind you guys of: send me your picks for what should be the 100th video for Doc Schlock by request. Send in whatever you guys got. There's some good picks in there, but I want to know what you guys really, really want. And everybody who participates will get a shout out in the video. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. And until then, next week, it's a top 10 worst horror movies requested by Killer Nerd 75. This should be fun. So until then, take care of yourselves. God bless you all. And as always, stay strong and rock on.